All right, everyone. Welcome to Huge Movie Fanatics Radio for Thursday, March 11th, 2021. Beautiful day out there, so it'll be interesting to see how many people show up to the show this week, because in the Northern Hemisphere, in the United States anyway, spring is definitely arriving, and winter is definitely ending. So welcome if you're listening now, or most people probably listen after the fact. I've got an intro song this week to kind of coincide with the release yesterday or 2 days ago of The Forest on Blu-ray re-release. I got it. Matt's already in chat. Matthew Haggerty says, "Yo, welcome." I've got an intro song. That is if Fake Shem Taboo shows up. Otherwise, maybe I'll just outro with it or something like that. As I was saying, it corresponds to the release a couple days ago, a re-release of the classic horror movie by the name of The Forest. Pretty nice day out there, so as I already said, it'll be interesting to see who shows up this week, if anyone. Well, Matt's already shown up, but I'm seeing 0 on the viewers right now. I don't know if Matt's computer crashed or phone died or who knows what, but okay, I'm seeing a 1 again in viewership or listenership. Okay, slower start than last week, but we'll give it some time as far as viewers. I got to learn to say listeners. It's a radio show. There are no viewers. Gosh, must be really nice out there. A week ago, we had I think 5 or 6 people show up in the first minute. Matt, if you're still with me, what do you want to talk about this week? See if get a conversation going, see if anyone else shows up. If not, it might just be you and me if you're still here. I'm seeing a whopping 1 listener, so I guess while I'm waiting for people to show up, if they're going to, I guess I can go over a list of some of the things I watched. Matt says I'm here. Okay, good to know. You've pretty much got the show to yourself right now if you want to bring up a conversation. But some of the movies I watched over the past week on Tubi TV and Amazon Prime, as I revisited The Horror Show, which is a movie from my teenage years that I used to like a lot more when I was a teenager. Having watched it again is just boring. And saw Brain Damage for the very first time on Tubi TV, Frank Henenlotter movie. I'm a big fan of the first Basket Case, so thought I'd watch Brain Damage. It was okay. I don't think it's something I need to buy. I also checked out Deadly Manor on Tubi TV. That was something that started off good, but really got boring towards the last half. And then I checked out Ninth Configuration, the William Peter Blatty movie that people or someone on here suggested I see. That's on Prime Video, and that was pretty good. I mean, it's gonna be because it's William Peter Blatty. Matt says he's loading his PC. Summerhill Cinema's here. He says, "Hey Nate, hello Summerhill Cinema." It just occurred to me today that Summerhill Cinema might have shown up. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he may have shown up for every single, maybe not the very first one, maybe not the first couple or something like that. But after the show got where I set it on the set time, day and time of Thursday starting at 1 p.m., Summerhill might have shown up every time since I set that schedule. So that's kind of cool. It just occurred to me that may have been the case. As I've said and say in all these shows, I mean, life comes first, of course. And how are you doing, Summerhill? Oh, you may have, I was just saying this before you showed up. I don't know if you heard this, Summerhill, but over the past week, I watched Brain Damage on Tubi TV, and while I liked aspects of it, I'm afraid, I don't know, the thing as a whole was kind of not really up my alley. But the can't remember the name of the little creature was really fun how it was animatronically created and stuff like that. Had fun aspects, but it kind of really ultimately didn't do a whole hell of a lot for me, but that's okay. The Kevin Van Henterick cameo with the basket was fun. I just wish he had some dialogue. Matt says, I'm on phone. My laptop is being gay. Oh, okay. So looks like his PC won't start up for him. Summerhill says, I think I missed the first one. I try my best to make it. Yeah, I did. The first one, of course, the first show was unannounced, and then the second show was unannounced. And then, so you may have made the third one, because the second show I did at like, I don't know, 11 p.m. or something. The first one was in the early afternoon. Then I wanted to see what the turnout would be for close to midnight. And based on that test, I decided on doing early afternoon. Summerhill says, glad you finally watched Brain Damage. The creature is really cool. Yeah, that's one of the things I really liked about the creature, and that he just talked and sang and everything like that, and the way they animatronically made the creature was really fun. Quite honestly, some of the things about it were just gross, like the brains and the spaghetti and the creature coming out of the guy's pants, and with that chick and everything was just like, some of it, as we all know, Frank Henlotter can be a little risque with his stuff. So I guess things in Brain Damage put me off more than things in, the first Basket Case movies. So I definitely don't feel like I have to buy Brain Damage, but I'm glad I was able to see the Arrow Video transfer for free on tubitv.com. Matt says, regarding his computer, I think it's doing a fucking Windows update. Well, looks like we have, probably because of the nice weather, not a huge turnout so far. Anything you guys want to talk about? Matt says, fucking fuck these updates. God forbid I need to use my computer now. Yeah, I actually turn off. I'm a kind of a guy with tablets and computers. I turn off auto update because, in my opinion, there's no need. Updates do more, in my opinion, in my experience, harm than good. They just slow your tablets and or computers down. So I actually don't update. I've actually got an iPad that I got, an iPad mini that I got 2014. And, when I got that thing, one of the first things I do is turn automatic updates off. That's never been updated. And I can still do virtually everything online that I want to do. So yeah, I don't update because I think it's their way of effing up the hardware and slowing it down. Summerhill says Kino Lorber has a sale right now on their website. Most Blu-rays are 50 to 80% off if anyone is interested, or anybody is interested. Well, thank you very much. That's an awesome bit of news, Summerhill. I think before you got here, I was mentioning that just 2 days ago, the re-release of the movie The Forest came out on Blu-ray, which is more or less code red, but from what I understand, Kino Lorber distributing it. I picked it up. I was able to get it for $20, so I snagged that baby up. And the slipcase with the cover art that more resembles the poster is just really beautiful. So The Forest is something pretty much you can see the first Blu-ray release on YouTube if anyone wants to check out The Forest. I wouldn't recommend a blind buy if the movie's not up their alley, but you can watch it for free on YouTube and see. It's one of my favorite, like, stalk and slash in the woods movies from the early 80s. So I'll be definitely doing a video about the newer Forest release Blu-ray one of these days. I'm having I just have this feeling that the turnout for this show is gonna be, it might be pretty underwhelming, but that'll happen in the spring, I guess. Like what I'm kind of toying with is the notion of switching, like, maybe in April, or I don't know when, maybe halfway through April. We'll see. I'm toying with switching maybe the start time to like 9 p.m. I could go to like maybe, so during the warmer months, I don't want to miss out on beautiful warm days by sitting here doing this during the day. So I'm thinking maybe I can keep the show moving forward. Maybe mid-April through the summer, it can be Thursday 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. or something like that. And then I thought of that. I'm like, ooh, 9/11, yes. So what do people, what are the few people that are here think about the summer hours of the show idea? Because I toyed with doing less shows, but I'm like, doing 3 hours once a week isn't that difficult. And if you just, during the warm months, if you just switched it from the early afternoon to, just before, like I say, 9 to 11 p.m., that would be a way where I'm not going to miss out on beautiful sunny summer, spring and summer weather. Because let's face it, as much as we all love the show, I don't want to miss out on nice weather to sit here and do it. Looks like Matt got back on his laptop. I'm glad to hear it. Matt says, yeah, do streams at night in the spring. That's a good idea. Yeah, it'd be a spring all the way through summer until it starts getting cool again. So it might go all the way till November or something, but I'm thinking 9 to 11 on Thursdays. Maybe I'll make a little video to let everyone know when the switch is going to happen. I'm sure that's what I'll probably do, because as I said, I don't want to sit inside on the computer for 3 hours on a beautiful day. Matt says I should turn off my updates. My last laptop, the hard drive got fucked when it did an update. I don't know if you were making transition from phone to computer when I was talking about what I do with updates. When I get a tablet or a computer, like the first thing I do is turn off automatic updates. And I've been fine. That's what I recommend doing personally. I don't know why tech heads and all these people that are so into computers and tablets and shit are always, so adamant on getting the latest update. Matt says, yeah, I heard you say it about updates. Okay. Just my 2 cents. I'm hardly a computer whiz or aficionado, but in my experience, that's what I do. Summerhill says, that sounds good. Gotta soak up some sun. I'm an outdoors guy like you, so gotta take advantage of the warm weather. Okay, sounds like the two whole people that are in chat right now agree with my spring/summer radio show hours. So it'd probably be Thursday still, but probably just like 9 to 11 p.m. Austin's here. Welcome. He asked, did you ever own Evil Dead on Laserdisc? Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so. Because I remember in the late 90s, the Anchor Bay they put out, like, it seems to me like in 99 or something, they put out their new scan on VHS tape, a limited edition VHS tape with clamshell. And then, like, I don't know if it was 98 maybe. It seemed like, okay, maybe it was 98. And then 99, they put out the first DVD of it. I don't think I've ever had Evil Dead on Laserdisc. I might have Evil Dead 2 on Laserdisc. I'm going to go through Laserdiscs and pick out what would be interesting to showcase in a couple of weeks here when I start shooting videos again. I think I said last week, I'm going to probably, some of the first videos I shoot this year will just be showcasing Laserdisc, just to get back into the video shooting grind. Did you ever get Evil Dead on Laserdisc? Yeah, because I'm just trying to rack my brain because I know I've got like this Elite. This might be a rare DVD actually. Elite Entertainment Evil Dead DVD, which is the first one that I am aware of that actually had like commentary and stuff. Because I think the first one that came out was that Anchor Bay Bare Bones with the new transfer and stuff and the stereo, 2-channel stereo. But then the Elite Entertainment DVD had like 5.1 and commentary with, the commentary and stuff. Austin says, I had Evil Dead 1 and 2 on Anchor Bay VHS. Part 2 was a widescreen clamshell. Austin says, no, I never had Evil Dead on Laserdisc, just VHS and DVD. Yeah, I think that's my case as well. Yeah, I think, like I was saying, my recollection is that Anchor Bay put out their new scan of Evil Dead on tape like a year before, or at least some period of time before they put out the DVD, which was probably to double dip us suckers. Austin says, I have Scream Factory Army of Darkness Collector's Edition. Yeah, I got that after the fact, previously viewed when I was still going to Half Price Books. Yep, must be really nice weather out there. Low turnout, but that's what you got to expect in the spring. I don't know. It's probably mid to high 40s here Fahrenheit. Pretty much, except for the big, huge snow piles, pretty much all the snow that's just covered the ground is gone. And all that's really left is, snow piles that people build up when they're shoveling or moving snow in parking lots and stuff. Austin says, I had to get the corrected disc from my Army of Darkness, though. He says it's cold today here. And you're where exactly? I mean, not exactly. I mean, what vicinity are you? I don't need your address. I mean, yeah, might be a lot of dead air this week as I wait for people to type stuff in the chat. If I was any kind of real radio host, I would have things to say. But like I say, this has generally been a chat-driven show. So, holy shit. Matt says it's 72 where he is in PA. Holy crap. Okay, Austin's in, Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. So what's cold to you then, Austin? 72? Matt says, took Miata out for top-down drive. Great. Was it your first of the year? Yeah, that's always so great. And, where people like us who live in a climate that gets cold in the winter, of course, I think you said you pretty much just do it all winter. Your winter doesn't seem to be as harsh as Minnesota winter. He says, no, not first top-down of year. So Austin says cold would be 50 and below in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. So it must be below 50 in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma today. Yeah, it's funny because the show before last week's show was somewhat similar to this, and I thought it would be a downward trend, where then the next one which was last week, would be even less of a turnout. It turned out to be the all-time biggest turnout with a maximum of 11 people at once. So this week is more like I thought last week would be, which is like less of a turnout than the week before, but life comes first. I mean, crap, if it's 72 in parts of the country, you can understand why so few people are here. Matt says, I went into a Target the other day with no covering. Girl up front asked me if I had a covering, and my answer was nah, and I just kept walking. Well, there you go. Yeah, I saw in Target like a family of like a dad or something. There was a guy and a woman and a daughter, and the woman and the daughter didn't have a face covering, and the guy did. And I'm just like, it's just so stupid. I don't understand that. Austin says it's 50 right now. Yeah, it's probably just a little cooler here, maybe just by a few degrees. Matt says, did you end up watching that movie Upgrade? I couldn't find it anywhere for free, so I'm afraid I haven't. I did look at the trailer for VHS, and it's completely like not even. I don't know if I'm going to even give that a try. I'm not a fan of found footage stuff. It just looked like it'd give me a headache personally. But if you say it's one of those situations where the trailer misrepresents it like It Follows, maybe I can give it a try. But generally, I'm not a big fan of found footage. VHS, I think, is on Tubi TV, and I think it's also on Prime, so I can see VHS for free. But as I said, I'm interested in Upgrade, but I don't want to pay to see it. I'm not interested to pay. Matt says, nah, the trailer was decent for VHS. You won't like it if you don't like found footage stuff. Okay, yeah, I won't bother with it. I don't think I'll like it. To me, when Blair Witch came out, it was just like the beginning, just an abomination to me. The beginning of the found footage, I think Blair Witch was the beginning of found footage genre, which I don't really like, but that's okay. But I am interested in seeing Upgrade for free. Matt says regarding VHS, the movie, I wouldn't compare it to Blair Witch, though. I just mentioned Blair Witch because of I think from what I understand, that movie started the whole found footage craze or phenomenon or debacle, whatever you want to call it. Welcome, everyone. If you're just joining, thanks for joining us on this, what I can only assume is probably a really beautiful spring day in the Northern Hemisphere, because so far our turnout is not the greatest, but hey, that's okay. Oh, okay. Mr. Tight White's here. He says, yo, what's up, dude? Welcome. So I guess after I uploaded my review of Toolbox Murders, I guess Mr. Tight White watched it, which is, at least at the time of the show or whatever, free on TubiTV.com. What did you, Mr. Tight White, what did you think of the Toolbox Murders? Pretty lady. That's a song from Toolbox. I'll just break the silence by this song from Toolbox Murders. Pretty lady, I'm in love with you. And just maybe. Actually, I don't know any more of the lyrics. Lucky you guys. Oh, okay. Well, Mr. Tight White is driving. He says, I'm driving, so give me a bit. Yeah, don't feel like you got to type and chat while you're driving. Please just concentrate on the road. Coming back from Goodwill, no doubt. Oh, yeah, and I checked out his channel. It turns out that at the end of the show last week, I plugged his channel. It turns out, compared to the views I have on my channel, I don't really need to plug his, but we can still plug his anyway. He gets an average of, I don't know, 1,000 views per video, so I hardly need to be plugging his channel, but we can anyway. If anyone's interested in, channel talking about movies and stuff, and Mr. Tightwhite goes to stores and Goodwill and gets, I think he's big into video games and stuff like that. So feel free to check out Mr. Tightwhite's channel at some point. He says, haha, thanks. Yeah, I just watched one where something about a recent video, or not all of it, but some of it, where you're talking about PS1 games and the price, how their prices on some of them went up because of what's been going on the past year and stuff. So hopefully when Mr. Tightwhite gets parked and puts it in park and shuts off his vehicle, he can give us some feedback on what he thought of the Toolbox Murders from 1977. So I'm aware my voice seems kind of hoarse. So I'm aware of that. Got a bottle of water here. Yeah, there's several songs in the original Toolbox Murders that I think they might have been like written and recorded for the movie, but some goofy ass, instead of like movie music when there's kills in that movie, they're just like playing these like country songs in the background, which is kind of interesting. So when women are dying, you just hear these country songs in the background, which for a low budget movie is actually kind of a creative choice. And I just remember that song where it's like, pretty lady, I'm in love with you. And just maybe, I can't remember any more of the dialogue. Or with a song, it's lyrics. Austin says, favorite version of Army Darkness. Yeah, I think you asked this at the very end of a show in the past, but that's okay. You can ask it again. I think it's the Sam Raimi, like the director's cut. So it's the one with the extra. My favorite version of Army of Darkness is the one with the extra business and the windmill and the ending that, where he sleeps too long and stuff. So I think that's the director's cut, I think. So that's my favorite version of Army of Darkness. And it's kind of a bummer because the end of the theatrical cut was kind of cool too. But I think ultimately, and plus if obviously they've done the show since, so obviously if you're going to watch the show, you can't really watch the director's cut of Army of Darkness, and that doesn't really go well into the show. You have to watch the theatrical cut ending if you're going to then go on into the show, which I got the show. I only saw the first season of the show, and it's cool. I've actually, over the winter, I got the entire, all 3 seasons, but I haven't started the season 2 yet or anything. But the first season was cool, and it was cool to have Sam Raimi direct the first episode. I hope he does that with more episodes of like season 2 and 3 or whatever. Oh, okay. Matt asks if I'm excited for my $1,400 commie bucks. I mean, I'm just really scared about the repercussions that all this given money out's going to have in the future. And then, yeah, shit. I mean, it might be fun now in the short term to get this money, but in the long term, it's not going to be so fun. So I'd just as soon not get the free money or have them not be giving this out, but whatever, we can't control what the fuck they've got planned for us. So yeah, I guess that's my thoughts on that. It's clusterfuck. They're setting up everything to fail. Austin says, what did the MPAA make them take out of Evil Dead 2? Is this like a quiz question? I don't know. I'm not huge up on Evil Dead 2. Austin says Army of Darkness got NC-17 at first. Laugh out loud. That film feels like PG-13 these days. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what they cut out of Evil Dead 2. Matt says, yeah, our economy is done for. Yeah, I know. It's fucking scary. Looks like we got our first hitchhiker. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I guess since he brought up the topic and there's not much being talked about, we could briefly talk about that. It's such a joke what they're doing to quote unquote help the economy, and it's just going to be, what they're doing is just going to be one of the driving factors in its eventual demise, or the demise of the dollar. And it's just like, fuck me. Real things that would help would be like eliminating, they should have done this last year, but this year for sure, for anyone who makes less than 50 grand, no more income tax. Pretty much anyone who makes less than 50 grand, no more income tax, no more property tax, no more sales tax. That's just a start. And let's stop wasting money on, programs like NASA, giving money to other countries, all this stuff that is just a huge waste. We just completely just halt those programs in their tracks. Instead of giving everyone money, the government can help cut down on ridiculous spending so they can stop taxing people. First of all, there's other things that should be done as well, but Mr. Tight White says, I'm first off a big fan of slashers with power tools in general. The soundtrack took a little getting used to, but it's definitely original in my opinion. Historically, it feels important in the genre. Yeah, I kind of think that way. So the soundtrack, you're talking about like the country songs or the actual like score? And I hope you've seen, if you're a power tool slasher enthusiast, I hope you've seen Nail Gun Massacre. I can only assume you've seen Nail Gun Massacre. Of course, that's not multiple power tools. It's just, I don't know. Obviously, the title would lead one to believe that it's mostly a nail gun, but I don't know if other power tools come into play in that movie. I haven't seen it for a while. Matt says, yeah, income tax is theft anyway. Yeah, from what I understand, income tax was a temporary thing that they started back to fund World War I. So it'll be nice when the temporary income tax is done with, which has basically been going on for 100 years. So Matt says they just create fake ass CGI videos for billions a year and send off a few rockets that land in the ocean. Most likely. But everything we're talking about is, if anyone believed it, it'd be a crazy conspiracy nut. Austin says, were you shocked when you found out Alien versus Predator was going to be PG-13? Was that the beginning of the PG, franchises formally rated R that started becoming PG-13? Was that the beginning of that trend? I'm trying to remember. I think it was kind of. I didn't really care so much about that movie, so I don't, I was probably a little put off by that. But by that time, I wasn't really looking forward too much to Alien versus Predator, so it didn't really matter. But I think that was kind of the beginning of the era where, formerly a franchise where formerly all the movies were R, and now you're going to combine the two, and it's PG-13. I mean, it's like if you imagine Freddy versus Jason being PG-13. So I think that might have been the beginning of that PG-13 era of shit that was formerly R. And Austin also says, have you seen Shane Black's The Predator? Yeah, I did. I blind buyed it years ago when it was I think it was only $10 or something on Blu-ray. And, I never reviewed it or talked about it. I thought it was, I can't really remember. I mean, I think, I thought it was half good and half bad. I think there were things about it that I remember liking and stuff. It's not something I regret blind buying. Oh, okay. Mr. Tight White says, I own Nail Gun Massacre on Blu-ray. I love it. Okay, good. Yeah, I could only assume that you've seen it, being a fan of the genre, the power tool genre. What about The Carpenter? That's not very good, though. The Carpenter with I can't remember his name right now. Austin says, imagine Hellraiser being PG-13. Laugh out loud. Exactly. I'll tear your soul apart. Just look away right here for this scene, and then I'll cut back to me. And Mr. Tight White says, that being said about Toolbox Massacre, my only major issue was the stupid-ass lead detective and his dumbass dialogue. It almost ruined it for me. Exactly. I think in my review of it, I pretty much said the same thing. Like, yeah, okay, then after the fun murders, and then it goes to the boring detectives and just blah, blah, blah. You got to just do this detective shit. It's just a staple. Matt says, I'm excited for the new Snyder Cut Justice League. I know you won't like it, Nate. Laugh out loud. Well, it's just, I'm not big on superhero stuff, but that's okay. I'm glad. I hope it's something that, I hope it's something that ends up being good for you. Was the Snyder Cut good for you? Do you happen to know how long that's going to be? Austin says, do you think the UK film rating system is worse than the MPAA? I guess I'm not really familiar with, I guess I'm not really familiar. I can't really compare because I don't really know what the UK's film rating system is like. I know that they seem to, for a while in the 80s or whatever, pardon me, they seem to be like, with the video nasties and all this stuff, they seem to really get on a lot of movies, pardon me, wow, asses for no good reason, movies that were fine in the States, And another thing, hasn't the MPAA since changed to the MPA? I think back when I was seeing new movies, back when theaters were open and stuff, I was like, all of a sudden it's like I'm seeing MPA. So it's like it went from being a Motion Picture Association of America to Motion Picture Association, which I guess is, one step closer to one world. It's like, okay, so now it's a Motion Picture Association of the world. So anyone else notice that? Matt says Snyder Cut of Justice League is going to be 4 hours on the mark, like 4 hours and 2 minutes. Ooh, boy. Matt says, I love Zack Snyder movies. His action is next level. Yeah. I bought the Blu-ray Justice League years ago for $5. There used to be this place I could buy them really cheap, and I watched it once and thought it was okay. Is that the movie where the Flash is played by some really just creepy character where I didn't even like him at all? He was really creepy, like the guy who played the Flash. I didn't like him in Justice League, if I'm remembering correctly. Summerhill says, I wish I could stay longer, but I have a lot of things to do today. I'll be here next week and try to stay longer. Have a great day. Thanks for showing up. You can always listen after the fact, as everyone knows, but there's no pressure. Life comes first, and thanks for showing up for as long as you did. I don't know if he's still here to hear this. Probably not. You can hear it after the fact if he listens. Yeah, everyone, there's no, there's no pressure to show up every week or feel like you gotta, this is just for, I mean, now that it's getting warmer and stuff, I don't expect people to really show up as much as this week is kind of evidenced by they're not really doing, which is fine. But it will be interesting to see the turnout, moving even more and more forward into the warmer weather. Like I say, for anyone who wasn't here at the beginning of the show, I'm probably going to change, like maybe halfway through April or something, change the show start time from Thursdays 1 p.m. to Thursdays 9 p.m. because I don't want to sit inside the house when it's a beautiful, nice day out and do this for you guys. I'll do it at night on a beautiful spring or summer night. Austin says UK standards, they couldn't show nunchucks or switchblades in movies. Laugh out loud, that would always get cut. Okay, based on that, I would have to agree. I'd have to say that UK standards were a lot worse than MPAA standards. Oh my God, yeah, I can't show those nunchucks. They're phallic. I wonder if that's why. They're like nunchucks and switchblades are phallic. Well, I hope they must cut, scenes with mopping and hot dog scenes and all kinds of stuff then. Mr. Tight White says, I own Jackhammer Massacre as well. It's ridiculous. Yeah, that sounds familiar to me. I don't know if I've seen it though. That sounds like something that's probably more recent in the 2000s. Matt says the last Justice League was not Zack Snyder movie. Oh, you mean when you say, I thought there was only one Justice League movie. What do you mean the last? I thought there was only one. God, I guess I'm really not a superhero fan. Oh, Matt says the last Justice League movie only had about 20 minutes of Zack Snyder footage and the rest was a different director. Oh, I see. He says you should definitely change the time to night streams. That would be a good idea and see how the turnout is then. Then he says there was only one Justice League movie. Yeah, okay. So that one just had a small, like 20 minutes of Zack Snyder stuff. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like I say, I'll make a short video when I'm going to make the time change and stuff to let everyone know. Based on today's turnout, I mean, maybe it will be sooner than, a month from now. I don't know. Maybe more like at the end of March. But I will. I'll definitely change the start time at some point. Now I'm thinking based on today's turnout that maybe it'll have to even be sooner. But as I said, I'll make a short video to let everyone know when that switch is going to change. As I said, it'll just be Thursday. It'll stay Thursday, but the start time will change. Yeah, so back when I did my very first, unannounced show, and I just did it unannounced and see who would show up. That was I think that was early afternoon. And then a week later, I did one, which was closer to midnight. Maybe I started at 11 or something. And the turnout was, I think it was one person at 11 p.m. versus, maybe two or three the week before early afternoon. So I don't know if the turnout will be better or worse if I do it at night. I guess we'll just see. But regardless of what the turnout is, I'm not going to do it during the day in the warm weather. Austin says it wasn't for phallic reasons. The UK thought switchblades and nunchucks were a bad influence for kids. It was stupid. Laugh out loud. Oh my God. Bad influence. Matt asks, are you still not working, Nate? I might be and I might be not. I don't know. There's some personal questions that are kind of personal. I mean, I may be working, I may not be working. it's a mystery. Who needs to work when they just send us money? Austin says, also, when UK films came to video, they would edit the films even more back in the day when Furman was running the BBFC. Man, I mean, imagine taking a movie like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and making the running time like 20 minutes. I mean, they'd have to cut the whole end of the movie out, the last half of it. It'd just be the first half. Then when they go to the old Franklin house, it's the end. Austin says, thankfully, the UK is more lenient now. Yeah, exactly. Matt says, my new job is huge movie fanatics now. Yep, exactly. Movie reviewer and live streamer. Yep. Because I take all of these comments left in the chat to the bank and deposit them. They give me crypto. They give me YouTube bit. Matt says, I might start live streaming if I ever get 400 subs. Yeah, I mean, if you did another one, you know, anytime soon or something, I mean, I'd show up. You can do another one sooner. I mean, if you wait for that long, there might not be power in the country by then. I mean, maybe if you did another one, I'd show up now. If you let people know in advance. I watched a little bit of that live stream you did last year or whatever, and yeah, if you did another one, I'd try to show up in the chat. Yeah, maybe you should you try another one, let people know in advance or something, and you know, I'd try to show up. I'm not generally awake anymore after midnight, but if you did it anytime before midnight or something, I'd try to show up. I mean, you look at today's turnout. I mean, I've got, you know, over 400 subs, and I mean, it doesn't really, there's 4 people here, so I mean, 400 subs don't mean you're going to have any kind of turnout. I mean, I'm grateful for everyone who's here. Don't get me wrong, or don't misunderstand. Austin says Texas Chainsaw Massacre was banned in the UK for decades, so they didn't even just cut out the end. They just didn't even show it at all. Well, they were missing out. Matt says, haha, true. I definitely let people know in advance. Austin says Exorcist was banned as well. Yeah, I can understand that. Matt says, last year live stream, I was just testing waters. I would do it legit this time, might play a video game or something. Yeah, that's what I did too. You know, the first one I think I did on January 6th or whatever was the same thing. Where it was just like, let's just go live and see. First of all, I didn't know you could. I didn't even know you could do it with under 1,000 subscribers. But that's you got to have 1,000 to do the. I can't think of it right now. You know, on your phone or anything that's off a computer. But anyone can, from what I understand, live stream on a computer. So I just did it on the cuff, the first one as well. Matt says maybe I'd take my laptop outside or something, live stream at a McDonald's or something cool. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, if it's freaking in the 70s there already, holy crap. The only problem with that is the wind noise. Like if you're outdoors, the wind on the mic or whatever. Mr. Tightwhite says, I'm with you. I've been out of work for 12 months. I sleep in, drink beer, make videos, sell games, and live high off the hog. I'm stoked about the September extension. What's the September extension? Matt says, I'd be happy with 4 people, honestly. Oh, yeah, don't misunderstand. I'm not complaining about, well, I guess I kind of am. I'm grateful for everyone that's here. I thought, I don't know, I didn't watch the whole thing, but you had like 2 or 3. You had close to 4. You had halfway to 4. Matt says I had one person and sometimes no one at times on the stream. Yeah. Well, it looked like the chat was kind of busy. I guess maybe like I say, I didn't listen. I didn't watch the whole thing. At one point, it was kind of busy. I don't know. Yeah, maybe not busy. Maybe not busy is the word, but yeah, because then I think someone left a comment on that stream. Isn't that stream the last video you did? And you said like, yeah, someone wanted you to do, suggested doing more, and then you said like, yeah, I'm been down in the dumps or whatever, and that made me. I mean, it's understandable. I felt bad. It's just like, yeah, I would recommend doing another one and let people know in advance. And like I say, if it's before midnight well, I can't really necessarily do it on the weekends, or show up. If it was during the week or something before midnight, I'd try to show up and chat. Matt says, let's see here. Where am I? Okay, Matt says, fucking sucks. I can't live stream with mobile. The sky's the limit with mobile live streaming. Yeah, that's true. Matt asks Mr. Tight White, yep, money till September as well for me. Woo, woo. Gotta love inflation. Ha, ha, ha. Mr. Tight White says, hell yeah, Matt. Matt says, September extension is unemployment. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Matt says they extended the 300 extra for unemployment and unemployment in general till September. Mr. Tight White says unemployment. Matt says, yeah, it was the last video I did. Yeah, and someone mentioned something about you doing more, and then you said, yeah, I can't remember the terminology you used in your response comment, like it wasn't down in the dumps, but something to that extent. And I just felt bad reading that. I'm like, yeah, I can understand that. I think that basically speaks for, yeah, there you go, in a funk. Yep. That basically speaks for the majority of people's the past 12 months. Mr. Tight White says, speaking from experience to all you guys, my channel used to get way more views than it does now. That's a long story, but streaming is totally different ballgame. It's a lot tougher to get viewers. That's for sure. Austin says Last House on Left was banned in the UK until the early 2000s. Yeah, that's a nasty ass movie, I'll tell you that. Piss your pants. Piss your pants. I'm not talking to you guys. I'm doing a line from the the movie. Matt says I might live stream a video game, so there's a chance I could pick up viewers that just wanted to maybe watch that game instead of just relying on my subs to show up to watch. Yeah, that's something to try. I don't know. I can't exactly say we'll be going 3 hours today. We'll just see as we're approaching 55 minutes into the show. We'll just see what happens. It's interesting how a show goes and just how it, like last week, people just kind of flooded in like right away. And maybe the first 30 minutes or the first 45 minutes were kind of busy, and then not so much. I mean, it went down after that. Austin says, I have the Arrow edition of Last House on the left. Yeah, the only one I've got is the just the MGM Blu-ray that came out. I think that was like the first Blu-ray that came out of it in North America. It's not a movie that I watch very often, so I'm fine with just having that. But I can imagine the Arrow edition is much better. Matt says, I really want to stream with mobile, or I really want to live stream with mobile, though. Laugh out loud. I know. Well, like you say, if you just go to some place, and sit outside of that place and use their Wi-Fi, it's kind of, I don't know, the closest you can get to, I guess. Matt says, could go on an adventure and live stream it. Ha ha ha. That's true. Austin says, it's cool. Arrow included 3 cuts of the movie, but there's more cuts than that out there. Huh. I wasn't aware of that. Jesus. How many freaking cuts of Last House on the Left is there? Austin asks if I've seen the movie Slugs. I think I have, but I'm kind of like with creepy crawlies and mushy wushies and stuff, like slimy bugs and slugs and stuff. I'm kind of grossed out by. So I think I bought it either on DVD or VHS and watched it and just got grossed out, and I gave it to a buddy of mine at the time. So I'm pretty sure I watched it, but I've like completely tried to erase it from my memory because I think it's pretty gross, slimy, sluggish stuff. Matt says that Mr. Tight White, do you play Xbox One? Matt says, I might check to see if I can pick up Wi-Fi right outside the library near my house. That might be a cool place to live stream. Just set up a foldable chair and table. Ha ha ha. Matt says people would be like, what the fuck is this dude doing? Mind your business, covering cucks, and stay 6 feet. Did you mean fucks? Probably. I don't know what a cuck is. Austin says probably 6 or 7 cuts in all. I don't know. They all have different titles. Oh my god. Oh, okay. Austin asks, okay. Have you seen any of the 5 Underworld films? Yeah, those are kind of a genre. Isn't that like vampires or some crap? That's been a genre that I've never been interested in, so I have not. Matt says no cucks as in cuckold. Oh, okay. So you did mean cucks. Oh, okay. See, yeah, I was going to ask that, but then I didn't really want to get into it. So you let me know in advance. You knew I was wondering. So Matt enlightens us and says, cuckold is a man that watches his wife fuck another guy. Okay. Yeah, not too sure I was aware of that. Now I do. So good for me and good for you. All right. Well, we're about close to 59 minutes into the show here, and definitely one of the lowest turnouts in a while. But as we say all the time, life comes first, and it's freaking warm outside, so can't blame anyone. Austin asks if I have got Motel Hell on Blu-ray. That's never one I got on Blu-ray. Again, it's one that I actually really like, but I've got on just the the MGM DVD, and the DVD, I guess, has always suited me just fine. So I never actually got the Blu-ray. I understand that at first it came out on Scream Factory Blu-ray, and then they did recently. I don't know if it was in the last year or so. They did whatchamacallit, like a new 4K, what they're calling a new 4K scan of it, and it's like a stupid steelbook crap, isn't it? Or I don't know if it's only in a steelbook, the new 4K one. But that's a movie that I don't really watch that often. So, like with so many titles, I find that the DVD, which is, it's anamorphic, enhanced, widescreen. God, my voice. I find the DVD does the job for me when I want to watch Motel Hell. I mean, I should have the Blu-ray, but like I say, I don't watch it very often. Matt asks if did you ever make any ad money from YouTube before they started fucking everyone? I even made almost $10 off one of my car review videos before they pulled that 1,000 sub bullshit. No, I never actually had ads. I never did that before. So I'm not familiar with that. Apparently, you were making ad revenue, and then at some point they changed it to you got to have 1,000 subscribers to make ad revenue. Oh my God. That's a bummer. How the hell how the hell do you get the $10? Do they send you a check in the mail? How does that even work? Austin says, have you seen any of the 3 Sometimes They Come Back films? No, I haven't. There's a lot of strange, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that I, haven't seen. It's kind of strange, but you can't see everything. I guess I'm kind of picky about what I watch. I don't know. It's weird. Matt says 1,000 subscribers and 10,000 hours of watch time. Oh my God. It's in an ad account that you transfer money out of, like an AdSense account. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a bummer. Always gotta F the little guy. All right, we just passed the hour mark. Hour and 2 minutes into the show. I guess I'm kind of thinking if it stays like this, I'll probably end at 2 hours into the show, to be honest. So that's kind of my plan right now. Not that I don't appreciate and enjoy your guys's that you guys showed up and your participation. We'll just go with the flow. Matt says, yeah, that shit really bummed me out because I was going to do car review and other car stuff. There's other car stuff videos full time. Ugh, that killed my motivation to do those car review videos. I don't doubt it. They take so much time to edit and shoot that it just isn't worth it to keep making those videos with zero pay. It's true. I also write all the music for my channels as well, and my car reviews all have songs in them, so that's even more time to write and record the song. Yeah, that's true. All for free. Yeah. Yeah, I'm almost wondering. I mean, I guess it's kind of a hobby. I'm almost wondering if the effort I put into, the reviews and doing half-hour reviews and all the editing stuff is even worth it for 30 views, but I guess I just like, editing, cutting video and stuff, so it's really not so much of a chore. It's just kind of fun, so I guess I just keep doing it. Okay, Austin says, watch both Terror Within films on Blu-ray. Scream Factory did a good job with them. Glad to hear it. I just happened to glance at those. I think they just put up the reviews of those on blue-ray.com, and already it says like I think it's already sold out. So good thing you got that when you did. I'm sure those are already on eBay at inflated prices. So I'm glad to hear those are. Oh, Will Powell's here. He says, hello, Nate. Welcome. I'm glad to hear that they did a good job on those releases. Oh, Will, if you haven't seen Puppet Master yet, it turns out it's on tubetv.com for free, and it's listed under this like it's like Elvira episode or something. So it's like Elvira intros it or something. Matt says, I did enjoy editing, but cutting those 30-minute car videos takes me a while. Yeah, I hear you. Will Powell says, how we all doing tonight? I don't know, all five of us. I think we're probably doing okay. I can't speak for everyone. But I've been checking out Tubi TV more recently, and I just realized the other day that Puppet Master is on there if you haven't seen it. Because I hate to have anyone pay money to see stuff if they don't have to. Yeah, it's hard to find because it's a picture of Elvira on there, and you gotta look on the artwork, and it'll say in really small letters Puppet Master. So feel free to check out Puppet Master with Elvira on tubetv.com. Will Powell says, okay, I'll give it a try. Matt says, getting that government cheddar. Oh, okay, yeah, he's answering how Will Powell or how he's doing to Will. Yeah, I don't know if they're doing that with you guys, but in the United States, they're just sending everyone money. So, that's how we're doing. Of course, those who have a little bit more in the IQ department are kind of a little more apprehensive about the future. What giving all this money to everyone's going to do to the money in the future, but we'll just leave it at that. Austin says, "Have you seen The Unholy?" I don't think so. The cover comes to mind as soon as you type the title. I'm aware of the cover, but again, I'm not huge on the spiritual kind of horror movies. I'm more of like stalk and slash and go in the woods and show your tits and die kind of thing. So I'm not crazy on the spiritual kind of horror movies. So I have not seen The Unholy. Matt says, do you think they'll do a fourth stimulus check? I don't, which one are they just talking about now? Because from what I understand, that's going to happen. Are you talking about the one they're going to do just now? Is that the fourth one, or is that the third one? I don't even remember anymore. They're talking about doing something now. From what I understand, it's going to happen, but I can't say for sure. Okay. He says, I think the third one is the last one. Yeah, from what I understand, they're going to do another one. Austin asks, have I seen the New York Ripper? No, I haven't. God, I'm going to have to change my name to, maybe I'm not that big of a huge movie fanatic. Austin's revealing my not so fanatic status. Matt says the one they are doing just now is the third one. Oh, okay. Yeah, if that's the case, yeah, I've got no, I mean, I have no idea what the hell they're going to do. It's a week-to-week shit show situation. I don't doubt it. I mean, the more stimulus checks they put out there, the more they can say, oh no, those ruined the dollar. We didn't know that would happen later. So I wouldn't put it past them to just keep doing it. I mean, shit. Will Powell says, I noticed a film on Prime called Body Count from 1986, slasher based in the woods, I think. Anyone seen it? Any good? Yeah, I think some people on this show and in past shows have talked about that. I need to see that. Is that free on Prime if you've got a Prime membership? Because if it is, I gotta check that out. That's something I've been meaning to see, or been meaning to want. Yeah, been meaning to see, but I don't. Oh shit, he says yes, it's free. It's something I've been meaning to see, but I don't want to pay money to see. Austin says Torso is a good Italian slasher from the 70s. Okay, believe it or not, I've actually seen that. I've got the Blu-ray of that, so that's fun. And the music, I've done a review on Torso. Torso's fun, and the women in Torso are fun, and the music, I kind of like the music is fun. So I'll agree. Torso, I've actually seen, believe it or not, and I'll agree Torso's fun. So thanks for the heads up, Will Powell, on Body Count being free on Prime. I'm going to have to try to remember that. I'm just going to take a quick moment to jot this title down, because if you listen to any of the past shows, you'll know that I forget the titles I mean to watch by the end of the show. So I'm going to make a note of it. What the hell is it called? Let me look at this. Body Count. Okay. I'm just making a note of it. I'm definitely going to check that one out. Yeah, I think in past shows, people have definitely suggested that I watch Body Count. If that's the same one, thank you very much, Will Powell, for that heads up. That might be a lifesaver. Austin says Deep Red is great too. Oh yeah, that's a movie I've known about forever, and I'm afraid the most recent version of Deep Red I have is just the Anchor Bay DVD. But that's also a movie I don't watch very often. But yeah, I was trying, like when I got into Dario Argento movies in the mid '90s. I was trying. That was one that took forever for me to find, and I was just ecstatic when I finally found it. Problem was, it was just a pan and scan VHS, of course, so it didn't really. It was kind of a bummer in that regard, but at least I got to see it until the DVD came out. But yeah, those are beyond classics. Matt says, "Do you ride dirt bikes, Nate?" No, I don't. You talking about the ones with engines? No, all I ride is a pedal bike. I mean, I guess the bike I ride, I guess, is a dirt bike, but it's a pedal bike. I just ride it on paved trails. Pedal bike, no engine. I don't know if you're referring to bikes with engines. He says, yeah, dirt bike with electric or gas engine. No, I do the pedal bike. As a matter of fact, my spokes, I broke a spoke last year, and I got to get a new rim before I can start my bike riding season this year. Will Powell says, movies I've watched recently: No Way Out, starring Kevin Costner; Flight Plan with Jodie Foster; The Founder with Michael Keaton. All pretty good movies apart from Flight Plan. Yeah, I think I have. I think I've blind by that and probably watched it, and I don't remember it for shit. Will Powell says the first half is very good, but completely falls apart towards the end. It's a bummer when movies do that. Yeah, I'm not too sure I've seen any of the other ones there at all. Matt asks if I've got a bike rack for the Miata I've got. No, I don't. I pretty much just ride from where I am on, I'll ride to the trail. So I'm not big on, driving a bike somewhere. So I'm actually in a location where I can ride to the trail. So that's convenient. I'm seeing six people here. Welcome everyone. Thanks for showing up. We're about an hour and 15 minutes into the show. Back down to 5 people. Fine then. Down to 4 people. Okay, well, I see how it is. Thank you, the 4 people that are still here, for still being here. Austin asks if I've seen Dario Argento's Inferno. Yeah, I've got a Anchor Bay double feature. What the hell? I think it was a Phenomena. Was that the one that was called Creepers in America? Phenomena and Inferno double feature. And I remember liking Inferno. I can't remember anything about it. I haven't seen it for a long time. But I've got an Anchor Bay DVD of Inferno. I mean, those were the classic Dario Argento years. So pretty much anything he was making back then was pretty good. You know, another one I liked. I don't think I've got it on DVD. I've got a Laserdisc of it. Tenebrae. Oh my God, that was a good one too. And John Saxon's in it. He does this goofy thing where he's got some hat on and he does this weird head move where he goes around and around to show that the hat it won't come off if he wiggles his head around like that. Matt says, do you ride the bike on the road to get to the trail? Yeah, I don't like riding on busy roads. I'm able to take pretty, like, just not like main roads, but I don't know what you'd call them, just I guess non-made, less busy roads. I'm able to take less busy roads to get to the trail, so it works out really well. I'm not one for riding on like the side of on the shoulder of roads that cars are constantly going by. So I can pretty much take suburban areas with if a car's coming, I can like get onto the sidewalk kind of a thing. So take these non-busy roads to the bike trail. Works out pretty well. Will Powell says, I also watched The Lost Boys all the way through for the first time. Like it very much, but got sad as Corey Haim is no longer with us. Never paid much notice of him before, but seeing him young. Yeah, another movie that I grew up with him in it was, of course, Silver Bullet. Yeah, I'm not the biggest. I should probably give Lost Boys a rewatch. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I remember that was just huge when it came out, and all the kids were talking about it and stuff, and it was just huge. I was never. Well, see, I was never into vampires though, so I was never big into it. But I blind buyed it years and years and years ago on DVD and watched it once. And I mean, since it's vampires, I don't really care too much about it. But it's got like the 2 Corys in it or whatever. So that's one I should probably revisit. Austin says, I have the Arrow Blu-ray of Inferno. Very cool. That's probably awesome. Yeah, I should really have that on something other than Laserdisc. I was just looking through the stuff the other day. I'm like, didn't I have... Because I would imagine that Anchor Bay would have put out Inferno in the early years of DVD. I'm like, didn't I have a... Or not Inferno, I'm talking about Tenebrae. Oh, we're talking about 2 different movies. Okay. Austin says he's got the Arrow Blu-ray of Inferno. Here I'm thinking of Tenebrae. Well, I'm sure the Arrow Blu-ray of Inferno was awesome, but like I say, I should have Tenebrae on something other than Laserdisc. My eyes are drying out. Oh. Will Powell says, and full of life made it a little sad. What's full of life? Matt says, that's nice. You gotta have a suicide wish to ride a bike on busy roads. Laugh out loud. Yeah, my dad used to do that. And I just used to be so worried about him doing that. And it's just like, especially nowadays with texting and cell phones, oh my God. But luckily he never got badly injured riding on the shoulders of busy roads. I think he was riding on a sidewalk, or I don't think he rode on. I don't know. At one point he was riding. He told me this story, and it's like so many bikers do this. I don't understand. It's not a really good practice where they'll just look down and not even looking forward. And I guess some girl was backing out of her driveway, and he just went. He hit the car and went right over the trunk and landed on the other side. And I'm just like, yeah. After he told me that, I'm like, yeah. You kind of have to keep your eyes you got to look ahead. You can't just have your head down and hope for the best. So hearing that story kind of worried me. I'm like, oh my God. So here I'm the son being more of a dad to my dad, and saying how he's got it was a role reversal right there. Like, yeah, you have to try to keep your eyes forward when you're riding. I'm just glad that didn't turn out worse for him than it did, Sounds like he just got back up and probably red-faced kept on going. But yeah, you got to keep your eyes out when you're biking. Will Powell says, yeah, Silver Bullet is a lot of fun, very nostalgic now, classic Stephen King Quiet Town feel. It's flawed but full of charm, and Gary Busey always makes me laugh. Yeah, it's a good one. One thing I don't like so much about, I think I may have mentioned this in my review I did of it years ago, is there's this because I don't know if it's filmed in, I don't know where, Georgia or some southern state, and it's like everyone talks, no one really has a southern drawl except for that girl that Corey Haim's into. It's like, I think I tried to to do her line, like it's like, I saw her all the time. It's just like this one girl's got this horrible southern accent and just sticks out like a sore thumb. I saw her all the time. Oh, yeah, and Gary Busey is great. Like, he always looks like that, or whatever the joke is. Austin says it's kind of funny the Italians were doing slashers way before US started doing them. Yeah, that's true. And in the commentary, the first commentary to Halloween, I think either John Carpenter or Deborah Hill or something kind of cited Deep Red for partial influence for Halloween, or when they were doing it. And Deborah Hill says, I think she called Deep Red Dripping Deep Red or something. She got the title wrong. But that's true. People want to say that, Halloween started it, well, maybe in America, but you got to look to Italy, because in Italy they were doing like that stuff in the late 60s, early 70s, and Dario and other people were doing that kind of stuff. Will Powell says Full of Life was my Corey Haim follow-up post. Oh, okay. Was Full of Life a movie he did? Austin says, I have a southern accent and Hollywood actors just can't seem to get it right. Laugh out loud, it's cringy. Yeah, I don't know that girl's accent. I don't know if that was real. Maybe that was the problem. Maybe she was trying to do a southern accent. And don't let me, I don't mean to rip on southern accents. It was just like the way, maybe hers was fake. Maybe that was the problem, but it just stuck out like a sore thumb. Will Powell says, I'd say Silver Bullet is a good kids horror movie, even though it isn't a kids movie. I'd say it would be a good introduction for horror. Yeah, and interestingly, I did see it when I was a kid, but that's back when we mostly recorded movies off TV. So obviously the first time I saw it was the TV version. But I swear, back in the late 80s, like they'd show more. Well, I don't watch TV movies on TV or any TV now, but it seems like they'd show more back then in movies on TV. They used to do this thing where it's just like, this film, is violence. Viewer discretion is advised. They'd always cut out swear words, but sometimes they'd show some of the stuff. the violence. So that was a movie that kind of, as a kid, introduced me to horror. Will Powell says, no, I just meant he was full of life in The Lost Boys. Oh, okay. So it's not a movie. He was just full of life. I see. Matt says, why do adults get so triggered by quote unquote curse words but have no problem with all sorts of other fucked up shit? It's just a word. What the fuck is wrong with them? Yeah, that's true. No, media does a good job at programming everyone, and I just feel so bad for the generation, like, the generation that's teenagers and stuff now. Like, it's basically just commonplace for teenagers now. I mean, it's just like, for any particular teenager to have a non-ending list of things that trigger them, it's just like, okay, so this is how we're living now. We're just gonna, the kids are just playing into the triggered culture. It's just like, and it's almost becoming a hobby. Like, oh, what are, it's like, instead of like in the old days, what's your sign? It's almost like, what are your triggers? So I don't accidentally say the wrong thing. Yeah, it's just a joke. Yeah, I can't imagine being a teenager now. I feel so bad for, and then just the other day I was coming out of or going into a store and I saw some woman who was pregnant. I'm like, you know what? When that happened, we were well into, the travesty of the past year. You got no excuse to be pregnant during this shit. Will Powell says, please watch this link if you're a Silver Bullet fan. It's called Gary Busey Wants Corey Haim Dead in Silver Bullet. The idea that he's secretly trying to bump Corey Haim with the Silver Bullet wheelchair, ha ha. Yeah, I'm not seeing a link though. Maybe you could leave it on the video after the show's done in the comments. I'm not seeing a link. Uh-oh, Matt says, Nate, my younger sister got pregnant in December, I believe, of 2020. I just shook my head. It's going to be her first kid. Oh my God. I'm sorry to hear that. Of course, it's, I guess it's not your problem, but Will Powell says it's hilarious. Yeah, the link, I don't think links show up in the chat though. Matt says, I can't even imagine as a child seeing a bunch of adults and coverings and how fucking scary / creepy that would be as a child. I know. There was this, I was at a store a while back where I was in line and there was some parent holding a kid and, covering on the parent, covering on the kid. And so I wanted to almost take a picture and just look at how pathetic everything is. Oh my God. Well, I'd be totally up to checking out that link. Like I say, maybe at some time later after the show is done, maybe try to post the link in the comments for the video, because I'm not seeing a link here. Will Powell says, I'm pregnant because I identify as a woman now. Yeah, that's true. Oh, I've recently thought of something to go into a store. You can, I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner. I thought you could say I identify as a robot. But I thought it'd be funny if you did it like I identify as a robot. Robots don't respirate, which means, and you have to figure which means I can't pass anything along. I identify as a robot made out of metal that can't transport any disease. Since I identify as a robot, that means I am one, which means I can't spread any disease. So I'm too pussy to try it. If anyone wants to try it, let me know how it works out. I don't know. I can maybe I doubt I'll do it, but it's so funny because I mean just using the robot voice just makes it so it almost makes it fun. I identify as a robot, which means I am a robot, which means I can't spread anything because I don't respirate. Have a good day. Get away. Matt says if a guy is overweight, he can just say he's pregnant now. That's true. Oh, here's another thing that I noticed. I was actually watching some video, and he pointed something out which I didn't really occur to me that the whole plus size model thing for women, but then it didn't occur to me because I guess I'm not looking at the guy models, that there's plus size models women, but there's like no plus size male models, and it's just like, oh my god, that's true. You really can't find any, so that's interesting. Will Powell says, I'll leave it in the comments after. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, definitely, definitely interested to check that out. Sounds funny. Austin says, I'm surprised we didn't get a Creature 2 in the 80s. Yeah, sequel to the movie Creature. Yeah, I can't imagine that movie did very well. So I don't, it would have been fun to have a Creature 2, but like I say, I don't imagine that movie did much business. Matt says robot voice signing out now. Then make a Windows closing noise. What's a Windows closing? You mean like doo-doo? You mean computer? Matt says, Nate, have you seen that clip from the Dr. Phil show of a mother's son who was pretending to be a cyborg? Laugh out loud. No, I think I saw, like the little thumbnail and the thing next to it, but I never clicked it. I think I've seen that. I mean, I haven't seen the video, but I think I've seen the thumbnail. Yeah, that's something that I'm seriously considering doing now because you are what you identify as. Matt says he was doing it so he didn't have to wage slave after he was done college. Yeah, then he says, yeah, Windows operating system noise. Get away. Did it. I don't know if they'd understand that Windows operating noise. Did it? Yeah, when they come up to you, you can be like, did it? I'm a robot. Did it? Oh god. Will Powell says would love to see a parody of Titanic set in 2021. Women and children first. Ha ha, laugh out loud. How would that work today? Yeah. Then all of a sudden every man would be a woman at that moment. Matt says that Will Powell have a bunch of men screaming, it's ma'am, I'm a fucking woman, then shoving little kids out of the way to get on the boat. Ugh. I identify as a robot. Therefore, I am a robot. Well, everyone who's shown up today and has contributed and participated in the chat, thank you very much for doing so. Definitely one of the smallest turnouts in a while, but that's what happens with warm weather. Mr. Tightwhite says, I'm back. Welcome back. Mr. Tightwhite's out hunting. He's probably going around seeing what video games he can scrounge up. Matt says, good turnout. Yeah, not compared to last week, but I guess it could be worse. Matt says Mr. Tightwhite is here. That's for sure. Yeah, I don't know. We just passed. Well, we're like an hour and 36 minutes into the show. I don't know how long I'm going to stay. I mean, for until 2 hours for sure, but I don't know. We'll just go with it. I don't know if I'll go 3 hours today. Will Powell says, I feel so sorry for kids today, knowing what they've got to come in the near future. All this political correct bullshit must be very confusing. Yeah, the thing that's a bummer is, when you're a kid, you don't really question anything because you don't know anything else. So, oh God. I mean, to them, it might not even be weird because they don't have anything to compare it to. That's what's scary. That's how they can, just with a generation, just completely make a 180 and shift things from going one way to another. And Mr. Tight White says, take down my email. I have a concept for you. Later, of course. Yeah. What might be more convenient? I guess I could look at it later. Maybe if you could. Yeah. I was going to say, leave a comment in the comments after the show is done or something. I guess I can always come back and, I don't know, try to find it. Oh, you think you know what I could do is just take a picture of the, just take a picture of the chat, I guess. Why don't I do that? I'm intrigued. You can't just leave a comment in a video about your concept. Matt says, hit the print screen button on your keyboard, then paste it on WordPad. Yeah, I already took a picture of it. Oh, God. Mr. Tightwhite's driving and listening again. Matt says, print screen should be the button. Yeah, I already took a picture of it. Yeah, no fake Shemp Taboo this week, or I don't think I've seen for a couple weeks. I haven't seen what the hell's his name? Shit, I haven't seen him for so long. I can't remember his name. The guy with like an American flag or something. He's all in the Laserdiscs. I haven't seen him for a couple weeks. Last I heard from him is he was going to get the Funhouse Laserdisc. Will Powell says boys need boys need to need, maybe he typed incorrectly. Boys need to be little monsters when they are kids. It's all part of learning and growing. Now they're told that masculinity is a bad thing and they should act more feminine. Oh my God. That's true. Matt says, do you like doing campfires in the summer? In my climate, I actually prefer them most in the spring and the fall, because the problem with summer is, and we talked about this last week or something, is mosquitoes, and also, um, if you're talking midsummer, then it's like could be humid, and then it's like doing a fire and humidity is just stupid. So I definitely like campfires, but it tends to be more of a spring and fall thing. But I would definitely love those. Yeah. Mr. Tight White says, or you could have pulled out phone and screenshot it. I took a picture of it with iPad mini from 2014, which I've never had an update on it, and it does just fine. Oh, wow. Matt says, I hate the smell of wood burning. Hate it so much. Gosh, that's too bad. Yeah, I'm kind of the opposite. That's too bad. Huh. I mean, it's understandable too, though. Like when you've been at a campfire and then later on, like you smell your clothes, it's like, oh my God, I was inhaling this the whole time. It's probably not good for you to sit around the campfire and inhale the smoke, all that smoke. But yeah, I like it. It's got to be in moderation. I'm not just going to put my face down by the smoke and suck it in. Well, that's too bad. Well, then you can put like a little propane grill in a fire pit and turn it on and roast marshmallows over the propane grill. You won't have no wood burning smell. Matt says, I guess I don't mind the smell of it so much if I smell it from a distant, but I hate how my clothes smell after. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, the clothes stink after. We're approaching 1 hour and 45 minutes into the show. Will Powell agrees he hates the smell of fire on the clothes hours later. Matt asks if I like iPad mini. Yeah, it's okay. I've since got another one last year. The whatchamacallit, the cheapest one was on sale at for like $250. It was this huge sale. So I got I don't know if it was the iPad 8 last year or 7, whatever. It was one below the current generation of the cheap ones. So I got two. I got the mini and then the one from last year for $250. So I'm iPad pretty much, I pretty much iPad the internet mostly. Matt says, I never understood tablets due to their size. I'd rather have a laptop or a smartphone that I can use with one hand. Tablets just seem to be bulky and big for a touch screen. I don't know, maybe there's something I'm missing. Can't you stream on your iPad? That's what I tried to do. But I guess it's probably technically considered. I think the problem is I think the YouTube knows that it's probably in the category of mobile device, because after all, you can get like LTE iPad. So it's YouTube probably recognizes an iPad as a mobile device. So I tried that. Will Powell says, what's your thoughts on Ginge and Winge, Nate? Haha, sorry. Harry and Meghan. Okay, so you call them Ginge and Winge over there. Yeah, I mean they're just pretty much, in my opinion, any big faces in the media and stuff are kind of like, in my opinion, no different than like an actor in a movie. I mean, I think for the most part they just play a part on screen, and they're like a character instead of a character in a soap opera. You know that knows it's a soap opera. They're characters in the soap opera that is called the media. That's my opinion. It's just a bunch of kind of malarkey, and this whole Oprah interview thing is just you know to stir up division, and that's my opinion on it. I don't get all caught up in what they put in the media emotionally, because I know that that's what it's there for. So, or I mean, that's my thought. Yep. Matt chimes in with one of their mottos, divide and conquer. You got it. I was really excited the other day, like a week or two ago, because I went through because syrup I don't use very often. So you have a syrup container for a long time, or at least I do. And it occurred to me that I should really look in, some of my bags of recycling, because I bet you anything there's an Aunt Jemima syrup bottle with not only the word Aunt Jemima, but the picture of the woman on it. And sure enough, I was so excited when I dug out this now completely offensive syrup bottle. And I'm going to keep that in a safe place, I'll tell you that, because I might be able to retire on that syrup bottle on eBay in 10 years. Will Powell says, yeah, good point, Nate. Well, thank you. Sounds like you maybe agree with some or all of it, or at least understand where I'm coming from. Yeah, I think people are just put in the media to just stir people up, and that's what that whole, if anyone knows about the recent Oprah interview and racism being brought up, I mean, that's all just to stir up people, get them fighting about nothing, in my opinion. Matt says, oh shit, Aunt Jemima, no more. That's racist and shit. Yep, I've got a racist Aunt Jemima syrup container I'm keeping. Mr. Tightwhite says, what horror movies have you guys seen of late? I watched a movie for the first time called The Canal. Is it Canal? Really enjoyed it. Okay, I've got a listing. I listed off early in the show. You probably weren't here. I'll show you what some of the stuff I watched last week, which is conveniently listed on iPad mini. So these are some of the things I streamed in the past week. Now, the horror show I've seen as a teenager, the horror show with Lance Henriksen, produced by Sean Cunningham and directed by James Isaac, who'd go on to direct Jason X. The horror show I liked as a teenager, and I've got the VHS, and I streamed it recently on Tubi TV, and my God, the movie's boring as shit. So I don't recommend the horror show. And I saw for the very first time Frank Henenlotter's Brain Damage, which was kind of cool, but kind of gross. I don't feel like I need to buy that on Blu-ray. Then I watched, because just recently in the last year or so, Arrow Video put out Deadly Manor. So I watched Deadly Manor on Tubi TV, and that maybe the first third of it is kind of cool, but then the last 2/3 of it, in my opinion, are just boring. And then people in past shows have suggested I watch The Ninth Configuration by, written and directed by William Peter Blatty. So I watched that on Prime, and that was actually good. I don't think that's something I need to buy. None of the stuff I've watched is anything I need to buy. I also watched the most recent for free on Tubi TV, Puppet Master quote unquote puppet master movie by the name of Blade the Iron Cross, which was just such a pardon me, such a joke. But I'm glad I was able to see it for free. One good thing about Blade the Iron Cross is there's some boobies in there. That's probably it. I mean, that's probably the only good thing about it. The full moon movies these days are just so embarrassing. But that's a listing of some of the stuff I watched in the past week. Yeah, I can't say I've oh, okay. So he says the canal is free on Tubi. Check it out. All right. Let me take another lovely photo of the chat here. Matt says, Nate, thoughts on buying an Aunt Jemima t-shirt? Ha 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 ha. Well, probably can't buy one now. Matt says, I might buy Aunt Jemima t-shirt. Ha ha ha. All right. Have fun. Have fun with your Aunt Jemima t-shirt. Yeah, I felt like some bum digging through my recycle bag. I'm just so glad that, because when it's cold out, I've got all these you don't want to go outside unless you have to. So I put all this recycling in whatchamacallit, grocery bags, and sometimes I get up to like 4 grocery bags of recycling full because I don't want to go outside to dump them into the recycling containers. So I'm glad that, I have that awful habit because it enabled me to actually hang on to that classic Aunt Jemima syrup container. Do you know when that movie The Canal was from? Is that like more recently or from the 80s? Or Matt says nothing beats real maple syrup though. That's true. Mr. Tight White says, I think 2007. Okay, so not quite the 80s. Well, we're slowly but surely approaching the 2-hour mark. Oh my God. Matt asks if I like pizza. Yeah, I'd say it's probably my number one. Number one. Oh my God, we're down to 2 people. Probably my number one favorite food. Yes, I very much like pizza. And before you ask, pepperoni pizza. Put a smile on my face every time. Matt says I would agree. Pizza is amazing. Yeah. Oh my God. Just seeing that word pizza just makes me happy. Matt says I'm a cheese guy plain. Okay, yeah, there's a lot of people out there like that too. Mr. Tight White asks if I've saw The Dark and the Wicked yet. No, I haven't. Is that something you suggested I see? And is that stuff on Tubi or somewhere free? Oh, free on Shudder. Well, as I grab the iPad mini to take a picture of chat once again. Maybe I'll take a look-see. Matt says, do you like Domino's, Pizza Hut, Papa John's. Yeah, I pretty much I used to like Domino's like in the late 80s and the 90s and stuff. I used to do Papa John's. They used to have like a weekly thing where you could get a discount or something. I haven't done Papa John's in forever. I pretty much don't do any of those. There's this outfit by the name of, I don't know if it's just a Minnesota thing. Maybe it's not nationwide, but there's this outfit called Sarpino's that is really good. But there's different pizza moods. There's like corporate pizza mood, which would be Sarpino's, and then a lot of times I feel like the mom and pop pizza mood, where it's like the thinner and the square cut. So then there's local pizza places around here that if I'm in the mom and pop pizza mood, where I can get the thinner square cut versus the thicker crust, pie cut of Sarpino's. Mr. Tight White asks if I have Shutter. Oh no, shit. Is that something you got to pay for? Then I'm not going to be able to see it then. I thought maybe it was another free streaming site or something. No, I do not have Shutter. Is that a paid? That must be a paid for thing. Okay, well, I might be screwed. Will Powell says, do you like British fish and chips? Not sure if you tried it. I don't think so. I don't like fish. So is fish and chips fish? Matt asks, what are my favorite frozen pizzas? I mean, yeah, I'm fine with, to be honest, like I'm fine with the Target, um, whatever it's called, just generic brand, to be honest. Kind of the cheaper stuff, $5 or less. I don't really like the frozen pizzas that are all thick. So it's like the thin kind of frozen pizzas. So I'm fine with. I've been doing a lot of too many actually. Target, just generic Target frozen pizzas. I mean, and what I do is this is a lot of must know information. Is I'll buy a $3 Target frozen pizza and then I'll cut it in half and I'll do one half one day and the other half the other day. So that means that those 2 days that dinner only cost $1.50 each day. And in case anyone's wondering, I'm going to be, after the show, I'll be doing my second half of a frozen Target pizza for dinner tonight. And I've got a pizza, because I'm a pizza guy, I've got a pizza oven. So you just throw it in the pizza oven and you're good. Matt says Red Baron is probably my favorite frozen pizza, to be honest. Yeah, I should actually try more frozen pizzas than I do. But I'm generally kind of like, if I find something I like, I kind of stick with it. Jose Gomez is here. He says hello. Yeah, he's kind of like, I don't know, just kind of says weird shit. So I don't think I'll read his stuff unless it contributes to the situation. Kind of like a troublemaker. Matt says pizza and Coca-Cola is the best mix. Oh my God. We might not both like smoke smell, but as far as dinner, yeah, I'm afraid I those two mixes, the pizza and Coke, I'm afraid I have that combination way too often. I'm afraid too often to admit. But I agree. Pizza and Coke is like, oh my God, a match made in where. Mr. Tight White says yes through Prime Video. Well worth paying for it if you love old and new other. Yes, through Prime Video. Well worth paying for if you love old and new or either horror flicks. I've got Prime Video, so can I see it for free on Prime? I've got Prime Video. So can I see Shudder? Do I have to pay more to see Shudder through Prime Video? I'm confused. Matt says try out Red Baron. It's got a thinner crust and it's insanely good while being under $5. Okay, thank you. I guess I'm gonna grab the iPad Mini again. Try to remember Red Baron. Well, I don't have to remember it. I'll take a picture of it. I'm assuming Red Baron is your go-to frozen pizza of choice. Will Paul says, yeah, it's fish, usually cod, served with mushy peas and salt and vinegar. Yeah, I'm afraid I don't do fish. I tried fish and it didn't really agree with me. Mr. Tight White's on a, how do you pronounce this? Keto diet. Y'all killing me. Yeah, we're killing them talking about frozen pizza. Well, pizza in general. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Will Powell says you're going to live in isolation on a desert island. You can only take 3 movies with you. What do you take, Nate? Oh God, that's kind of a question that's, I don't know if I can think of it on the spot. I suppose Friday the 13th, 1980 would probably be the first choice. As far as other choices, it's really tough to say. That's like a, I guess it's kind of not fair to take time with that question, but yeah, I Friday the 13th, 1980, maybe Friday the 13th final chapter. Maybe those two. I don't know if I can think of a third one. That's a good question. I'm not too sure I can think of a third one. What else gets a lot of view from me? I mean, I don't know. The third one might not be this, but since the Blu-ray just recently re-released this week, I'll just, the third one will be The Forest. But The Forest, I'll just say that for right now. It might not really be that if I had more time to think about it, but I'm a big fan of The Forest. Will Powell says, I love Coca-Cola and KFC. It's just weird thinking about KFC in England. Like, it's just weird. It's a long way from Kentucky. Matt says, New Jersey boardwalk pizzas are some of the best I've ever had. No joke. I think they are very influenced by New York and maybe the salt seawater or something in the dough. I don't know. Okay. Oh, okay. Mr. Tight White says Shudder is not free, but it's cheap. I think it was Shudder. I think. Yeah, he said Shudder. Will Powell says, and Coca-Cola with fish and chips. Yeah, I mean, pretty much Coca-Cola with anything, I guess. As much as I hate to admit it, they've got me addicted. Yeah, Mr. Tight White says it's Shutter's not free, but it's cheap. Matt says Red Baron is my go-to. Yes, I like quite a few, so it will depend on my mood, but Red Baron is always a good choice. Okay, I think I took a picture of that part of the chat, so maybe I'll make an effort next time I'm at the store to try to find a Red Baron. Yeah, there's just so many different kinds, aren't there, of frozen pizza. Mr. Tight White says you don't want only horror movies if you're trapped on an island in the island the rest of your life. That's true. What other movies do I want? You mean one of them's got to be like an adult movie? Wink, wink. Well, final chapter. Never mind. Will Powell says, I used to work as a delivery boy for a pizza place called Pizza Italia or something. Italia, maybe I'm saying that right. I used to get free food. Oh no, after every shift. Good times, but was very unhealthy for a while. Ha ha. Yeah. I thought about working years ago at a pizza. I actually applied at a pizza place, but I'm glad I didn't get hired because, in retrospect, I don't think it's probably a good idea if you love pizza to work there because I don't want to get sick of pizza, you know? So it was a good thing I didn't get hired at that pizza place because I can see it being very possible that working at a pizza place will make your love of pizza go away. Mr. Tight White says Shudder is all horror movies. Oh, okay. I mean, to be honest, I mean, there's enough on Prime and Tubi to like tide me over, so I don't really feel like I need to pay for any more streaming stuff, even if it's cheap. I guess I'm just cheap that way. Lots of exclusive content too on Shudder. Joe Bob is on Shudder. Well, sounds like a good site for or streaming outfit for horror fans, but I'm probably just too cheap. Plus, the weather is warming up and I ain't watching stuff as much, so I'll probably pass on Shudder. But thanks for the. It sounds like you work for them. Thanks for the suggestion and pressure to join. Matt says, you want a few pornos on the island. Yeah, but Friday the 13th final chapter has some shots that if you pause them or slow-mo them, they might do. Will Powell says, after every shift, it was hard to resist any pizza, any size I like, or I could have a burger 5 nights a week. Yeah, I can't imagine that's good for the old waistline. Oh my God. Matt says, I don't think you can ever get sick of pizza, to be honest. I worked at a burger place called Five Guys and I still loved hamburgers. Oh, okay. What did you do there? Did you just make the hamburgers? That seems like a place that's just like always busy and just pull your hair out to work there kind of a place. Will Powell says, that's when I became a bit fat. Ha ha. Whoops. Matt says, I worked at Subway and still love subs. Laugh out loud. Okay, well, maybe I should work at a pizza place anytime I'll get a time machine and go back to pre 20s. Matt says, I just made hamburgers or the fries. I did cashier as well, clean dishes, whatever was needed. I was in the 10th grade when I worked at Five Guys. Okay. Yeah, we've got those here. I imagine they must be nationwide then. It's so loud in there, though. It's like I needed earplugs to sit in there. All right, everyone. All four of us. We're about 2 hours and close to 9 minutes into the show. Will Powell says my 3 movies would probably be Jaws, Empire Strikes Back, Terminator, but then I'm feeling guilty for all the other movies I love. Ha, yeah, I know. It's a question that movie lovers can't really answer, except I guess I answered it. But okay, so Jose Gomez actually contributes with a comment that's, I guess, appropriate. Sleepwalkers 1992. Amazing movie. Well, very cool. I remember when that came out, and that was the what did they call it? Morphing? Yeah, the early 90s. The morphing was a huge thing. Morphing. And everyone would just be wowed at the morphing. Will Powell says, never seen The Forest. Okay, from what I know, someone ripped the first Blu-ray and it's on YouTube. I think they put ads on it, but from what I just looked within the past couple weeks, so you should be able to find the Blu-ray rip on YouTube of The Forest if you wanted to check out The Forest. Don't get me wrong, it's not like some amazing movie, but I first saw it when I was a teenager, and since it's an outdoors movie, it's just right up my alley. So The Forest is just B movie, slash and stuck in the woods, cheese fun. So Will Powell says, I'm surprised it passed me by being a slasher in the woods fan. Yeah, well, those obscure movies are just that, they're obscure. That's why we call them obscure. And obscure things are not always easy to find. I don't know. I can only assume you've seen Don't Go in the Woods then. I have this memory that you didn't like that, which is understandable. Don't Go in the Woods is a schlock fest like no other. But if you haven't seen that, I'd recommend that, being a slash and stock fan of the woods. There's a goofy version on YouTube that doesn't have the music, which is really weird. The movie without the music, or I guess it's really not music. The movie without the synthesized noise, whatever you want to call the music. I'm trying to think of that guy's name. Shit. Some guy who I haven't seen on here in a couple weeks. Jose Gomez says Poison Ivy 1992, Drew Barrymore. Yeah, I can't say I've ever seen it, but back when she was kind of a little more young, huh? Matt says, do I like energy drinks? No. I mean, I feel bad enough that I'm drinking all the sugar and all the Coke, so I'm not I'm not an energy drink fan, but that's just me. I'm not going to rip on people that are. I assume you are. What are your favorites or your favorite? I feel guilty enough drinking Coke. Will Powell says, "Yeah, I've seen Don't Go in the Woods. That was just too bad for me." Yeah, I think I remember you saying that, to the point where I felt it was incompetently made. Ha ha. And don't get me wrong, I love low budget stuff. That's understandable. That movie definitely plays like that. Really like, okay, Will Powell says, really like Just Before Dawn though, and The Final Terror. Okay, so The Forest is definitely more technically competent than Don't Go in the Woods. So out of all those movies you listed, Don't Go in the Woods is definitely on the bottom tier as far as competence and watchability. So I'd compare The Forest to, I'd say I'd definitely rather watch The Forest than The Final Terror. So for me, The Forest ranks up there kind of next to Just Before Dawn. So hopefully you like it. Matt says Red Bull and Rockstar are my favorite energy drinks. And Will Powell says The Burning was okay. Yeah, that's a movie that has so many cool aspects to it, and then so many uncool aspects to it. It's kind of a bummer movie. Like when I think of it, like The Burning, it's like, oh yeah, you think of all the good things about it. And then when you watch it, it's like, oh yeah, but there's all this other stuff about it. Like the last, the last part of the movie is just like drawn out. Matt says Rockstar changed their formula and it's not as good, so it's not my favorite anymore, but it used to be. That's a bummer when you like something and they got to go and screw it up. Will Powell says I might watch it tonight then. I'm assuming referring to The Forest. Yeah, I hope you find the I don't know exactly what the one that's a Blu-ray rip is called, but you should be able to tell it's, obviously the Blu-ray rip is going to, finish or fill the widescreen 16:9 frame versus some VHS full screen rip. Hopefully you can find the Blu-ray version of The Forest that's on YouTube. And don't forget, maybe some other day, tubitv.com for Puppet Master, introed by Elvira. Matt says, I'm going to head out, Nate. Good stream. Well, thank you very much for showing up once again. Not quite as busy as last week, but hey, life comes first. And what you're hearing now is silence. At this point, why don't we just, I don't know, we'll see what things are like at, because we're at 2 hours 16 minutes into the show. We'll see what things are like at 2.5 hours of show, and maybe just depending on what things are like then, maybe just say end it then, or just go until for 15 more minutes. We'll see. My voice is so raspy. Wow. Yeah, down to 2. I'd say if we're still at 2 hours and 30 minutes into the show, I can probably call it a show. Up to 3 listeners. For anyone who's here who wasn't here last week, we had a record turnout last week where we at one point had 11 listeners all at once, which was a record. Before then, it had been 9, a max of 9 at one time, and goes from 9 to 11. You gotta love it. What I'll probably do this week is maybe sing out in celebration of the recently re-released Blu-ray of The Forest. I'll probably sing the show out with a song from The Forest. I hope that Laserdisc guy is okay. I can't remember his name. He had American flag in his little avatar. Something Wade. I don't know. Hope he's hanging in there. Haven't seen him at the show for a few weeks. Yeah, the reason why I'm not saying anything is because no one's saying anything in chat. This is like a chat-driven show. So we're 2 hours and close to 19 minutes into the show. If it's like this at 2 hours and 30 minutes in, we'll probably call it a show. Yeah, and please excuse the down or the quiet moments. That's just because no one's saying anything and I don't know what to say. Oh, I guess I could, if anyone's listening after the fact, or anyone's listening now, obviously I did a news info video about the upcoming Shout Factory Blu-ray of Explorers yesterday. I think they revealed some of the features, and there's no Joe Dante commentary, but there was like a 63-minute long interviews with Joe Dante, and they got Ethan Hawke interviews, so that'll be cool. So like a 63-minute, kind of retrospective interviews with people thing and deleted scenes and stuff. So at least we got a Joe Dante and Ethan Hawke interview in a 63-minute retrospective making of documentary. Yep. The show is definitely, whoa, down to one viewer. I think we'll probably wrap it up at 2. Maybe you should wrap it up before 2 hours. That's 10 minutes from now. 2.5 hours of show. Holy cow, that warm weather really kills the viewership. Listenership. Yeah, it's quite possibly. See, I'm really confused about this one, because even when I do a streaming test and I have it on private, like there's a one that shows up. So it's possible that no one's actually here right now. So maybe I will sing the song and call it good, because I feel just weird just sitting here in silence. Why don't we do that? In celebration of the recent re-release of The Forest on Blu-ray, I come to you with a ballad called, I don't know if it even has a title. I'll call it Dark Side of the Forest. Down, 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 down. There's nothing to fear. Is there, is there, is there? People do disappear, but where do they hide? In the dark side of the forest, forest, forest. Now don't you get lost. Keep walking, walking, walking. You have to pay the cost, 'cause many have died in the dark side of the forest, forest, forest. Do you go and run again, back to where you've already been? Is there a fee for what you do? Or do you give your IOU? In the dark side, in the dark side, in the dark side of the forest, forest, forest. In the dark side of the forest, forest, forest. All right, everyone. I don't think there's been anyone here for a couple minutes, so I think we'll leave it at that. If you're listening after the fact, probably thank you very much for doing so. Thanks, everyone, who showed up for the show this week. I imagine that the turnouts will probably be less during the warmer months, which can only be expected, and it's understandable and stuff. So thank you much for joining me on this show, and we'll catch you next time.